This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Of course, go to the Weird Renegade website. Listen to past shows of Blogtalkradio. And as you know, I'm working on the frequencies of how to figure out to transfer energies as for my videos from YouTube and start putting stuff on there in reference to just more talk, more freedom of speech, we'll say, onto the website. And of course, the phone number is right there. If I don't get in touch with you really quick or turnaround isn't quick enough, don't think I did not see your message. I just need to I have things that I'm doing and I'm going to get back to you, okay? But we already know that art is occultism. Occultism is a motherfucking art. And we already know that life is occultism, and occultism is the motherfucking life. Because again, you already know that wayward is about that revenge, redemption, responsibility, and that motherfucking spell work. I'm going to be in some energies, and I'm going to, of course, be in Cancer mode, and I'm going to be all over the place, right? We can say. So, I had many notes and seen many things going on, and I said to myself, let's be under neo-history. I'm not going to be for the positive. I'm going to be for the negative. Because, you know, they play us and talk about this is the last day of Black history. We already know the fucking what's up, right? And then I guess apparently there's a frequency going around of air and fire magic, and I guess niggas are supposed to follow this goddamn shit. And I guess apparently economic blackout on February 28th, 2025. Take part and share the news. If you haven't heard, there will be an economic blackout February 28th nationwide. This means don't buy anything unless it's from a small business. No gas, no fast food, and definitely nothing from places like Target, Walmart, and Amazon. Get the word out. We want them to see that we have the power. We will start with 1 day, then 3 Pacific companies until our message is heard. I have a question. What is the message? And what is this message about? I hope not about no fucking DIA that ain't got shit to do with us, right? I don't have time for no millennial ass bullshit and governmental fraud. Because buying stuff, this shit is so repetitive. How about we get to owning our own motherfucking businesses? If you see the federal government is clowning, then why are we not owning our businesses? Why are we not figuring out small businesses of our own? We should not have to introduce small Black businesses. How about that? I don't know what this is, but I'm not about to be under somebody's spell work. Because, let me see here. Let me see this white woman. Oh, here we go. Okay. So remember I talked about the civil rights movement? We just talked about neo-history. White history is Black history. Black history is white history, right? So we're going to talk about some neo-history. So we have this white woman. Remember I told you about that civil rights movement? Remember I told you about these white women wash their asses? I told you about them, didn't I? So anyway, mega white nationalist Lana, well, I guess her name is Lochtef, calls a repeal of the Civil Rights Act to stop Black people from invading white spaces. What the fuck is this bitch talking about right here? Everywhere we are, they are. Everywhere we're not, that's where they are. Everywhere we want to be, that's where they are. We can't even sit down and eat dinner without their noses up in our fucking shit. So she's trying to say she wants segregation to come back. She don't want Black people where they are. Okay, because she feels that there has been racism against white folks. This Lana Lockoff. So they done sat up and created this white woman to throw propaganda, right? So where are all the black women to be up against this white woman? See, people want to be under debate. Well, I want to hear the black woman debate this white woman with her shenanigans, with their history. And she's and you could tell her hair is not naturally blonde. So the CIA, the federal people, would put a white women like this to cause a whole bunch of propaganda and frequencies, right? So we have to understand what's going on. See, white women are getting beside themselves. This is not racism. I'm just looking at it for what it is. Because if she could speak this, then we have to speak the truth. White women are becoming beside themselves. And black women have sat up and let them rule for too long with their fucking behaviors. This is a lot of gall for the government to put this type of propaganda and bewitchery and witchcraft and spell work out. Because remember I told you that in reality, black people, American black people, we are under the Civil Rights Act. Remember in my video, I told you this. Now, do you see what I'm talking about? Now, do you see with them bringing this up? And of course, they're going to put a woman up to this, because I'm going to get to that maybe towards the end of this type of frequency. So we have to understand the spell work. I told you, white women build a nation. They are the mothers of their sons. You want to talk about white supremacy, Aryan and racism and all of that. Always look at the white woman, because it starts with her ass. Okay? Anyways, let's get down to some stuff, because I have some fucking questions here. I was listening to something on social media. So I was listening to some cyber magic. So when I talk, so a lot of stuff that I'm talking about is on social media. So it's cyber magic, right? We're just talking Black history, right? Anyway, I was looking at something about Kim Jong-un, North Korean president. Now, remember I told you, I don't understand what the fuck is going on with that. Because the last we heard, he was on his deathbed and he was dying and his sister took over. And all of a sudden, they act like that shit never happened. And he's still the president of Korea. But this is something, that we should understand. Did you hear about his wife? Did you hear about that his government erased her whole history, and allegedly and apparently she used to be a singer in a rock band, and basically he neutralized and exterminated and killed all the people that was in the band? Do you understand? She can't talk to her family. He erased her whole history, gave her a new history, new birth date, new name, new foundation, new background. She can't even talk to her family. We don't know nothing about this woman. All we know is that they done made up a new history about her. Okay? And she's under some cold rules. Now, with this happening, and I found this very interesting that they created a new identity for her. All these people that we see in the cyber world, social media, news, the Food Network, entertainers, presidents, their children. Do you understand? We don't know who in the fuck they are. Do you understand there are people who give these people clearances and so on, and they are saying that they don't even know that if these people are really who they are, because there's two different identities, allegedly. So we can't believe anything in Lucifer's kingdom and the devil is a liar type of frequency if this is what they're showing us. I'm going to talk about neo-black history, right? Let's talk about some energies here. So we so involved with the federal government terminating individuals. And I was listening to this woman on social media, and different people talk about how it is the neutralization of Generation X. Okay? And I'm listening to everything that's going on in the federal government. And I said, what the fuck are they hiding? What is going on, right? So I said, Generation X, jobless, disarmed. But if you've been working in the federal government for that period of time, that means that you're under basically MK Ultra and you are controlled. So do you even know how to go out there and own your own business? Because to be honest with you, this is the time for people to put even their money together to start to have ownership, because the government is going corporate entity for a reason. It's allegedly, it is to hide something, right? So let's talk here. So anyway, we have millennials that they're putting in place and Gen Zs that they're putting in place. Now, here's the funny thing is I'm hearing a lot of energies from older millennials talking about the job market. I've been hearing a lot about some certain frequencies, right? Now, remember, millennials need to eat their own shit because they became angry with Generation X and boomers for being in a job market and wanting security. So they wanted a market where terminate the boomers and Generation X so they can have a chance to come in, but then have a short-term frequency. Now they're in their 40s in late 30s and they want job security, but you fucked that all up by running your fucking mouths thinking you saying something, thinking you grown, and didn't understand the frequencies of the people before you of why they was securing their position. And it's not the faults of the individuals in the position, it's the faults of the company for not opening more spaces and more job opportunities for your age group, but you took it out on the wrong people, and that's what they wanted you to do. They wanted you to go into this anarchy behavior to get rid of the old to bring in the new. See, they used you because you're big dummies and you don't know any better. Okay, and I'm just speaking in spirit because I'm gonna keep it real, keep it right. Because they played you guys and had you believe that the elders were the problems, but the elders were never the problems. The elders were the ones trying to show you, hey, keep your jobs, don't teach people your shit. But they created this capitalist society and this frequency and this elitist and caste system where they want you to teach everybody should know your job. But that's because you're replaceable. See, the funny things with the elders before us, they made sure that no one can replace them in that position. And they made sure to understand and create certain statistics and boundaries within that position. See, but you people didn't do that. So therefore, it's easy to get rid of you. And a lot of people have been talking about that Doge because of the simple fact that a lot of them in other federal entities that they're hiring, that a lot of them are younger kids. Okay, but let's go further because I'm on some frequencies. So I started looking at some energies, right? As we talk about no benefits and so on. So usually when times like this happen, what is the thing that Black people may do and other motherfuckers? They will go to the streets. Well, they didn't cross y'all up with the streets and say y'all can't even do that anymore. So we don't have street banks, street energies. We don't have churches anymore that finance, because remember the church is $1 billion business. Okay, so they've shifted all that. They've taken all that away. They've taken religion away. They've taken all these frequencies away. Okay, so then now if we go back into the streets, let's go back into the streets, and we talk about street drugs. They didn't set up and played a whole fucking game with that. They didn't sat up and then didn't tell these black dope boys that fucking around with fentanyl would get them caught up. So we have an energy out here of white boys and black guys getting caught up with fentanyl, touching it, and then getting addicted to it, right? But around 2015, 2014, 2015, and 2016, you had a shifting of El Salvadorans and Latino people coming into the Americas selling the shit. But they're selling the shit for somebody else. Y'all think it's the fucking cartels. Your cartels is basically your fucking police department and so on, allegedly, and your governments, allegedly, right? So anyway, so now black people out the game, they arresting your ass. So now then they turn around and had y'all all working for motherfuckers in movie studios and record companies and record executive Middle Eastern and white boys and all these motherfuckers. They didn't all got arrested and they busting all of them. You guys are getting busted and arrested. So then they didn't brought it a new frequency and set up and tried to play y'all and told you that these are fucking immigrants. But here's the funny thing. So I was looking at this frequency of this Indian dude named, I think his name was Lokesh Patel. Patel, who's in the federal government? A whole bunch of Patels, isn't it? Isn't there one that's leading the federal Patels? Okay, we just talking. We just talk about richery and frequencies because you guys are not thinking because it's above your pay grade, right? So anyway, I was listening to this questioning and it was an interrogation. And apparently he came in on a student visa. And the law enforcement was questioning him of how long have you been in the United States or how long have you been in Chicago? He didn't say Chicago. He said, I've been here for 6 months. He said, oh, so you've been in Chicago for 6 months? He said, no, I've been in Chicago for 10 days. Now, if you go back to the borders, looking at a lot of the social media that they didn't got rid of, they kept questioning a lot of them border motherfuckers. Where are you coming from? And a lot of them they were Indians, Hindustans, Indians coming from India, allegedly. And a lot of them, and they questioned the Asians, where y'all going? They all said either Chicago or New York. So there was some scamming and trafficking or muling going on within those states. However, when they kept interrogating him, they asked him, okay, I guess he got caught up in the sting. We'll say this. And the law enforcement says, so you're here to scam the American people. So therefore, he was supposed to pick up a whole bunch of money from somebody in Chicago. He had to pick up a parcel. Now, let's talk parcels. They keep wanting to privatize, we'll say, the United States Postal Service. The United States Postal Service is federal, but they want to make it private for a reason. It has nothing to do with anything that they're doing wrong or employees. They just want to allegedly mule more shit through the Postal Service. We're going to stop playing and let's get it right. Because according to what he said, he had to go pick up the parcel at another low pickup location. So parcels are coming in, which goes to the longshoremen containers. Why they want to govern all that shit. Let's think about the Postal Service, what else they can bring into the United States, allegedly. So he said he had to go pick up a parcel. He didn't say package, he said parcel. The instructions and the demand and command came from someone from who? India. Now, I have a spiritual constituent who is going to school dealing with the fashion industry. She was telling me how in India they are becoming more economic, stable, middle class, and rich. Okay, and a lot of them are getting into fashion, textiles, and more. However, let's reevaluate what the fuck is really going on and how they're really making their money. Because what law enforcement, when they was interrogating the Indian dude who was 18 years old, who was here on a legal visa, who started out, and then they got the information from him, he was living in New York, Move to Chicago. He's a mule. Okay? So they don't need you niggas anymore being mules because they got new mules with the agents and whoever else. Allegedly, this is just part of it. This is just a small energy that I seen. Okay? So that taps back into the mail system to monopolize it. And we change everything into corporate entities. It's none of your fucking business. It's their business, and they'll be watchdogs over their own shit as they keep bringing in more shit, more bullshit, more this, more that, and it's none of your business. And then they'll hire who they want to hire to mind their business because they don't need you minding their business and blowing the whistle. Okay? Because that's very symbolic that Too Short song, Blowing the Whistle, came about because they don't want any more motherfucking whistleblowers. Okay? So this Indian guy with his name Lakesh whatever Patel is telling all the business trying to get out of it. Okay? So he's up here a mule, and he then got his hands on $81,000, and he was sending the money back to India. And the law enforcement was saying, hey, he explained to me, I'm tripping. He was explaining to them that, how can I say? He didn't know what the fuck was in the package. But the issue that law enforcement had was the people in India was giving him instructions. And he said, well, this person named blah, 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 he drives a BMW. This other person drives a Mercedes. All these people have luxury vehicles. So is that how they're coming up in India? Is that what's really going on? Are they really out here scamming America and doing muling in America? Is that what this is all about? We just talking, right? Propaganda and mayhem, and start connecting the dots because a spiritual constituent brought something to my attention that I found very interesting, right? Because remember I talked about the Hindustans being freaking imposters. So the new mules are the people who came across that border. So we're going to stop playing. And all of this government, this government shakeup that they think they're creating, it's on bullshit. It's on bullshit, right? So a spiritual constituent was brought to my attention and brought up Elon Musk, right? And was talking about Tesla and talked about Tesla is broke. And the interesting energy is that Tesla, meaning Elon Musk and whoever else that's behind him, have been creating a Ponzi scheme since 2010. What the spiritual constituents explained to me and people were talking about on social media is that this energy that they call Tesla or Elon Musk have created a Ponzi scheme where but we're going to say Elon, but we already know there's people behind him, have been on this promise energy that they're trying to create something called Tesla. What's it called? I guess some kind of a truck, I guess a roaster truck that they have never put on the market. And people been basically investing in this truck for many years since 2010. So therefore they said technically this person we call Elon, so he's just a pawn. He survives on Bitcoins. Okay, so I'm just looking at the information, and they said he is known and always been, or his entities have always been on this pansy pants of hiring and firing and hiring and firing, hiring and firing, restructuring, hiring and firing. I said, wait a minute, did we forget what he did to Twitter? Did we forget when he went in there and restructured Twitter, fired everybody, had everybody on packages. People were all distraught. Did we forget about that? And then went around, changed it from Twitter to X. But did we also forget that Elon technically didn't have the money to even buy fucking Twitter? Did we forget that a couple of years back around 2021 or 2022 when Elon didn't want to buy Twitter because he didn't have the fucking money, didn't feel it was valuable? And then somehow he came up with the money after he didn't have the money? So all we're doing is watching of how Tesla is ran and how Twitter is ran, and now they moved that into corporate entities. And we didn't catch it. And we didn't know anything about his alleged Ponzi scheme that they're talking about, that he's been having this company, Tesla roasters, and keep trying to people haven't received their orders yet. See, the Ponzi scheme is to have people invest in pre-order shit that's never coming. And that's the part they were talking about. So people were pre-ordering these vehicles that were never going to be created. So this is how the government is being ran. So we have them lying. They have mules in America transporting shit. They're lying to us, making us believe that they're changing the federal government. They have AI people in comments trying to make us believe this propaganda. They want to change shit because they want us to fuck out their business and not have whistleblowers and not us seeing the bullshit that they're pulling. So they want to pull rank and pull the energies of Aries, knowing Aries is shady as a motherfucker and be up there doing shady shit. They just don't want you in their business as they being motherfucking shady. So then they up here played the games with us, moved in all these fucking mules and shit to do their dirty work, and then kicked out, of course, the American people who was doing shady shit to bring in new shady shit, but for another country to basically monopolize on the shady shit as they scam American people. This is all allegedly, but y'all can look this up your fucking self and put two and two together, and you start to see the real shit, okay? So then, as they start to dig in Elon's alleged ass, they're saying he's nothing but a Ponzi scheme, bitch. Because then we have to go back to the energies of Texas when they was talking about that Josephine, Texas, and trying to build up a whole Islamic neighborhood and community. And people are like, what the fuck? So then you have Greg Abbott talk about hell no but no, but he's really part of this shit. And then they call it the Project of Epic City, and they'll have a whole community like the 7-day Adventists in the Catholic churches have a whole community. They've been talking about this for a long time, and I guess they call it the Shara law. And then they talk about the Shara law is not allowed in Texas. They pulling bullshit because I think even in Minnesota somewhere, they're doing the Allahs, on the speakers and so on. We just talking Black history is white history is Black history, and we're talking neo history. We're just talking the frequencies that's currently going on at this end date of Black history. Okay? So we just kind of have to know what the fuck is going on here, how they straight, bullshitting us, right? So then people in my comments were talking about allegedly how Elon Musk may be Down syndrome, and people been talking about this. We just talking allegedly. We're not saying what it is, what it ain't, because what it is that they want to govern us and censor us, and they don't want us to tell the truth. So, like, for example, I had no clue that Barron Trump ass was over there at that NYU. Well, part of the Republican Council, she had to step down because this is at NYU due to her telling the truth, saying that Barron Trump is an oddity. Once she said oddity, I already knew what the fuck she was talking about. See, they want to lie to us, and they want that boy to go to school. They don't want anybody to report the fucking truth that he is an oddity, right? And we all know he's a motherfucking oddity, just like that alleged billionaire billionaire Middle Eastern, but the Hindustan, aka / Indian son, who just sat up and married that normal woman, knowing he's fucking autistic, you know, and everybody went to his fucking wedding. We not fucking stupid, right? So then they made her the woman who, the college student who was part of the Republican energy, to resign her position. See, that's what it is. They don't want us to tell the truth. That's why now in government, they want to pick and choose, especially in the Oval Office, who could report news and so on, because they want to lie to us. So we have to become our own fucking reporters, because they want to continuously bullshit us and make us stupid, right? Like, we can't see that Barron is interesting, right? And just like we can't see that Elon's son is very interesting, right? Okay. So then I went to investigate, well, what the hell are they talking about? So I started to do a compare and contrast of certain type of features of people who are Down syndrome. And Elon Musk fits all of the points. Then I started thinking of when he was at the inauguration and he was in the wind, the stars, and the heavens. I said, oh, So while we up there thinking they're robots, but some of them are really not robots. These niggas out here, they on special need time. So then I went back and I started looking at Ice Spice again. I said, that bitch right there. I said, she's one of them hot girls Down syndromes. See, I call them hot girl Down syndromes. So I don't know if you guys met the hot girl Down syndrome girls who mamas be with the shit and they be on that shit cussing people out and talk about they gonna threaten and beat up people and they with the shit, and you know fucking well she walk in that neighborhood, some nigga a fucker. Yeah, I call them hot girl Down syndromes. So I didn't found out looking at Lotto. Yeah, you heard me. I said she looked like a hot girl Down syndrome. And they get all that plastic surgery done. And I started looking at them features. I started getting suspicious allegedly. I said there's a whole bunch of hot girl Down syndromes in the industry. And we need to stop playing. You guys need to research Down syndrome actresses and actors, and you will see what the fuck I'm talking about. And there's this one that's a model. She's an Australian model. Don't tell me Ice Spice and Lotto, I'm just saying just a few, don't look like that particular model. And we already understand the mongoloids. We're going to keep it right there. And it's very interesting that they intentionally target certain age groups for this bullshit because y'all don't know any better. Just like that, those two black girls who are plus size, who are not Down syndrome, but, well, one, and one of the girls is very interested in Ariana Grande, and I think her name is Brie or Brianna. I might be wrong because I might be mixing them up. That girl can sing. All you have to do is make her lose weight, change up her features a little bit, and write songs for her. She will blow up. She outsang Ariana Grande. And that girl has Down syndrome. Y'all better start peeping a lot of shit. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Them two plus size girl. One is she has the non-vocal. She's more stimulated, and the other one is a little bit more normal. Y'all better check that out. As they call them, intellectual disabilities. Anyway, as we go on with the government, have y'all been seeing how people been falling the fuck out? Did y'all not see that Mississippi Governor Dilbert, what's his name, Holtzman? He didn't fell on the ground. Then I'm so confused about Mitch McConnell. I thought he'd been out of office. I don't understand what they're talking about, that now he's retiring. Did y'all see that Black History shit? I was reading where people were invited, and then they went and sent them an email and letter uninviting them and telling them, don't you bring your black asses to the White House. We only want these cool niggas who have the fucking Trump wig come to this fucking energy. So I'm looking at all of this like, what the hell? And they all in the camera and all this. I said, this is propaganda. I don't got time for this shit. Okay? Did you hear about how people on the jobs and at these schools are calling ICE on students? I know somebody right now where the college called ICE on her, and she's trying to get the asylum. And she was already trying to get the asylum before all this other shit came out. I'm talking to people saying that they're trying to hurry up and go down to customs and all that and get their visa straight because they don't want to get caught up, because apparently ICE is going at people who've been told on and people giving directives. And then if you had like a DUI in the past or so on, they're coming at those people. So therefore your ass be like, shit, I'm not tripping, shit. I got all my records straight. Shit. They're coming at you talking about, oh, you got a DUI back in 1976. We're going to have to deport you. What are you talking about? I got a DUI in 1976. You're a criminal and a felony. You could kill a nigga. What? I'm not even drinking anymore. I went to AA. It doesn't matter. You're a criminal. You got to go. So motherfuckers are doing that shit. That's why I was listening to that story where it was talking about Portia allegedly calling on her husband. I said, Portia didn't call on her husband. He called on himself. And you know that, who's that Cynthia ex-husband? You know, when he get his ass out of jail, I'll be surprised if they don't deport him. Remember when they deported Teresa's husband? I said, because isn't he full Jamaican? Wasn't he born in Jamaica? I said, they're going to deport his ass. So people need to understand what the fuck is going on. People out here telling other people in colleges, you have employees calling ICE on students. You have employees calling ICE on other employees and co-workers. You have neighbors doing that. There's a whole lot of shit, because the bottom line is this. Those people that you see that they allegedly escorting and deporting were supposed to be escorted and deported. Those were the mules. The ones they got here are the ones that are working over there in DC and Tesla. Luigi, what's his name, Magnan, he didn't show back up looking healthy like he been eating. Okay? Niggas losing jobs. We have Joy Reid, so I guess the bells have rung. So they saying, look, your time is up, because she's a Mason. She know where she is in this. She knew her time is up. Don't believe any of this shit. You got Lester Holt, so they getting rid of all of them niggas, and I think there's another one. Let me see here. That they're getting rid of. Let me see here. So you see how they're getting rid of all the black people? Yeah. Here's another black journalist, Jonathan Capehart, has his own show canceled. So they didn't got a hold of Jonathan Capehart. They didn't got a hold of Joy Reid. They didn't got a hold of Lester Holt. So their time is up. So they're most likely they're going to replace them with something that's more of their likings. If not, then just white or something else. If not, it might be them Hindustans. But whatever it is, anything dealing with black people, they're going to cancel you out, talking about that you under DEI, and then going to lie and say that you didn't deserve the position. You only got the position, because you're black, not because you're educated, not that you went to Harvard, not that you worked hard to get where you needed to get. They're trying to use the DEI as a reason to terminate you, right? Just like, who is it? They went and disbanded and terminate the highest, what is it, sergeant or something? Charles Q. Brown, the highest sergeant, I think, in the United States government or the military, and talking about that and they're talking about the person that did it. What's his name? Because they're up there talking about he's a whole sexual offender. That Hogard, is his name Hogard or whatever his name is? Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Yeah, Pete Hegseth. Because, he's nothing but an Aryan. And you see his tattoo is an Aryan connected to the Germans. And apparently they said he was part of disbanding and getting rid of Charles Q. Brown Jr. Yeah, former United States chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So the bottom line is that they're trying to say DEI. DEI has nothing to do with black people. It is an energy that was put in place for others and white people and certain gay communities and so on. Black people don't have a clue of what the fuck this is, but the government and the people in the government are trying to make excuses that black people got into these positions not because of their own merit, education, and their energy. How can I say? And their self-work and so on. They're trying to say that you just a dumbass and you don't know shit and you're uneducated and you didn't deserve these positions. Meanwhile, we have some interesting energies going on where we have Mexicans fighting against Mexicans. I have a question, Mexicans. What the fuck is a Tex-Mex? I was like, is that a restaurant? And so then I found out it's fucking Texas Mexicans fighting against other Mexicans. I said, a Tex-Mex? So we have niggas getting removed out their position, lying, talk about DEI, but knowing it's just Masonic and knowing that they're trying to replace them with something else because they're saying their time is up. Okay, and a lot of these hierarchies in the government just say that their time is up. Okay, and just say that you went and hired this damn fool, to do whatever the bidding, but he's just a front. Talking about Elon Musk, right? Because we know he's the president, allegedly. Then what? So we have Tex-Mex. Then what the fuck is a Pan-Asian? I have never heard Asians call themselves Pan-Asians. So they're under the entity of Pan? I'm just asking questions, Black history, right? Then I had someone in my comments, who I guess called themselves Samoan and said Samoans aren't black. I can see you don't know your fucking history. I will advise you not to address me anymore until you do your own fucking research. If you don't know fucking Samoans, Polynesians, and Tongans, Fijians are black, I don't know what else to say. It trips me out when people don't know the original history because you're a hybrid and you're an imposter. So therefore you don't know your history. This is also include people in New Zealand. I know y'all don't like black people and I know y'all don't want a connection with black people, but it's what it is. And I hope it's not the women thinking that we want your men, because I'm going to suggest allegedly that no black woman ever dated a Samoan man. I'm not being rude or disrespectful. I don't know what they do with their own women, but every time they get their hands on a black woman, and this is just from what I seen, I'm not saying what it is, what it ain't, what it is, they always beat the fuck out of a black woman. I am from San Francisco and I've seen and heard so many stories. And every time a black woman dates a dang Samoan man, somehow they almost end up dead. And this is not allegedly. I remember my cousin, she used to live over there in them damn Geneva Towers that they tore down. And she was telling about her friend who was dating a Samoan dude. The Samoan dude put her over the fucking balcony and was hanging her and was holding her by her fucking neck. And she was pleading for her life. And he threw it. If you know them fucking not Sunnydale, but the Geneva Towers, you would know what the fuck I'm talking about. I said, what? And it was her friend. Okay? No, so other black women who dated Samoans came in pretty, left out, fucked up. I'm not saying all. I'm just saying, hey. And Samoan men cussed the fuck up. So it's not that. I'm just talking history. So we're gonna cut this out. I've seen too many dark-skinned, Afrocentric looking Samoans. So you gotta cut it out. You gotta know your history. I know you guys are discriminatory and you guys just don't want to know the truth. Sometimes you have to start at the root. Okay? Furthermore, it was something that I was looking at where more and more they were talking about that black people are appropriating other cultures. Black people can't ever appropriate other cultures considering it was our culture. The bottom line is that if we get attached to something, let's say if it's Japanese culture, but wasn't the original black Japanese dark skin with puffy hair looking like this, just like the Chinese? Okay, we talk about past lives and all that. I don't believe black people have past lives. I believe that we just get connected to something because it was our culture anyway. Okay, if we like Mexican food, why do you like Mexican food? Is it because the bottom line is that your people came from Mexico? Because the bottom line is that they'll try to say, well, African people came into Mexico. No, it was the original people that were there. So we have to understand each frequency for what it is and why we attract to it spiritually. Everything is not about reincarnation in past lives. Sometimes within our DNA, we are attracted to certain frequencies. Just like we hate to adopt and adapt the culture of we have white DNA. So we have white DNA. We're going to be attracted and act like certain cultures and certain frequencies that are white. What it is, what it ain't. I don't give a fuck what you think. This is my thesis. So when I'm looking at the spiritual frequencies of nationalities, and people say nationalities and black people biting off other cultures, and you hear stuff from other, well, black people are appropriating, especially from, the Asian culture and whoever else. Bullshit. It was ours in the first place. All we're doing is adapting and adopting, and we feel a kinship towards it. It is you guys who are the fucking hybrids. We have black men who don't even know who the first samurai warrior is. They'll look at the whole Japanese, Korean culture, whatever else, and say, now they have a culture of men, but they don't know what was before that. Okay? And it's hard teaching it to our young black men and women because they don't believe shit because the world teaches otherwise. But we are connected to certain frequencies for a reason because we have a kinship, because that was our bloodline until the imposters came in. But what I'm saying to you is above your pay grade. And I understand. And this could be food, clothing, hair, language, so on. Okay, so we have to understand, right? We have another energy going on where there's a frequency of the uprooting of the Level Up Club, right? I am so sick and tired of the Level Up Club in the black community. Fuck you. Because you on bullshit and you a ranch and it's not real. When I go back and understand the Kevin Samuels and all this shit, now we have a woman, Kevin Samuels, what's her name? Shelley Dalton. And I was listening to what the fuck she was talking about. Oh, you look like this. You want a provider man. I said, so we done went from, what is it? A man that is high value to a provider man. Then I started to go back. Our ancestors, our grandmothers, our mothers didn't have to do all that. I don't know what the fuck with these new type of energies of scolding black women at everything we do. Your hair is wrong. Your lipstick is wrong. Your nails too long. Your eyelashes too long. He don't want you. He wants to take da da da. And he da 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 da. And he da 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 da. Fuck him and fuck you with it. Because none of that matters. None of that matters. There are there's too many women out here with flat asses, flat titties, and not looking the best way they could look, but they man take care of them. It has nothing to do with any of the bullshit. That dude that played, that played Notorious Big, and he was talking about how other women take care of him and treat him like a king. Fuck you too. Fuck all this shit. Because we need to start from scratch. Because you will find none of that matters. That's in the black community, want to be treated like a king. But you're not a king. You're not a king. Because you're not supposed to be in that position in the first place. Black women treat you accordingly. But then we have a new form of black women out here who don't know how to take care of themselves, who don't know how to be ladies. See, the problem is that we have these Shelley Daltons and the rest of these motherfuckers when back in the day we had debutante balls and charm schools, not no level up club. Stop playing with us, with these bitches coming from these ranches and they up their holes and shit. Y'all out here confused. And they're like, see, that's what we talk about. No man want her because of her mouth. I don't give a fuck. The bottom line is that I'm tired of this bullshit. Then now you got black women coming back out talking about black women need to lose weight. Shit, bitch, I know I'm fat. The problem is not me being fat. And the bottom line is that whatever you talking about is not true because it's not us up in the hospitals and shit dying. Okay, so we're going to stop that playing. You niggas out here dying from Ozempic, lipo shots, protein diets, working out, doing steroids, doing all this shit. Your vegan diet even is not even together. The fuck you talking about? Shit. Talk about them BBLs. Talk about the plastic surgery. Talk about titty suctions. Talk about how you rottening them tissues. Stop worrying about us being fat because you're looking for the next income for your ranch. Always pointing out what the fuck we doing, but not looking at the real truth. This is a whole gimmick. We got real shit going on. We need to do for real small businesses and business frequencies, understanding what's going on, looking at our youth, looking at the education, looking at what the fuck the world and how it's moving, seeing how they fucking playing games. Why are we on this DEI shit? That shit ain't got shit to do with us. I'm just asking questions because this is neo-black history and I'm wondering how come we not peeping the bullshit going on, right? And the bottom line is that as I go back to those news people who are losing their position, that's what happens when you make a deal with the devil. Okay, let me go back because I'm having a cancer moment. The thing about it is that people out here don't know the difference between Satan, Lucifer, and the devil. When you make a deal with the devil, that's the kind of shit that happens. And you will also die. I was thinking about High Five and Tony Thompson. If we don't sit our asses down and peep High Five and how they were just basically cursed, that's the deal with the devil, and how allegedly they killed Tony Thompson from the group. Damn, I was looking at what's his name, Dino from H-Town. That was a deal with the devil. Then I went back and I remember the 90s group Damien Dame. Damn, that was a deal with the devil. Then I went back. I said, can we retire all the 1990 acts? Can Mary J. Blige sit her ass down? Because Mariah came around, around 1988. Can she retire? Can we stop it? Can we stop and force them to be slaves? But of course they're going to be slaves, because according to the spirit, it says when you have no wisdom, you're going to be a slave. When you have wisdom, you're going to be a leader. See, the bottom line is that they don't have wisdom and they sold themselves to the devil. So therefore they have no wisdom. So they're slaves, and they're going to be a slave to the day they die, because they have no wisdom. And when you have no wisdom, you'll be a slave. And black people have no wisdom anymore. So that's why you're slaves. This is above your pay grade. And so you guys understand. So I was looking at that David Banner, because I guess he's on this show. I said, because it's called Family Business. And I was listening to some people from Louisiana, and they were saying they don't understand why they didn't hire local actors and so on, or actors from Louisiana that should be on that show. And I said, well, maybe, David Banner is from Mississippi, and Mississippi and Alabama had this connection with Louisiana, but what it is, what it ain't. But the more and more I was looking at this person that they call David Banner, I said, oh, he's a cis man. That's a cis man. We have a new word called cis man. See, they call cis women, but that doesn't make sense. He's a cis man with a CIS. Stop calling these niggas trades, bisexual, whatever. They just cis niggas. So anyway, I started to look at some energies, right? And I was talking to a gay spiritual constituent, and he had a strong complaint. And his strong complaint was against straight men. So he went to a heterosexual club, and he seen some sisters. They was partying, and it was their birthday and so on. And one of their birthdays, and of course Pisces. And he was like, happy birthday. He was buying the ladies drinks and so on. So he was analyzing the fact that it was all these heterosexual dudes at the bar that didn't buy the ladies drink, didn't even buy the birthday girl a drink or nothing. He said, matter of fact, they copped an attitude. I said, yeah, those are cis boys. So anyway, he said they were copping attitudes, and he said at first he thought they was jealous, that he was buying them drinks. I said, well, these niggas out here thinking that they a JD revenge. And that's the way they treat black women, as he treated his girlfriend. That's these niggas are black exploitation, right? So anyway, he said to find out they liked him. I said, oh, cis boys. Okay. So the cis boys that was up in there, which are supposed to be heterosexual, you guys want to call them down low, whatever. Cis boys are upset that he was buying the females drinks, but they wasn't buying them the drinks, but they was upset because they wanted him. And I said, well, why don't they just go to the gay bar? So anyway, that made me get into some spiral energy popping off, right? So somebody sent me some energies, and I'm a little suspicious. And within this energy, they sent me the energy. And if you kind of look at the young man, he looked like a cis man, a cis boy. He says, this is a 20-year-old Caleb Wilson. He was a student at Southern University. He died after some sort of fraternity ritual happened at a park in Baton Rouge. He was pledging to become a member of the Omega Pi Phi? Am I pronouncing that right? And that was very interesting, because I was looking at some shit on Instagram, because Instagram had turned into a whole porn scene. And I was listening to these Latino kids interviewing about Gen Z around their age. And they asked him a question, because he was part of a fraternity. And he's supposed to be a gay male in the fraternity. And so anyway, they asked him, they said, hey, where's the weirdest place you've had sex? And he said, oh, in front of the fraternity house where I took 20 loads. I said, so are these the rituals? What's going on? Because I've heard some good rituals going on here. I've heard rituals where they nail the scrotum, all type of shit, right? So if we have fraternity brothers taking 20 loads, then what happened to this one, right? So then I was on that minded Instagram business. And the thing is that it had a whole bunch of shit going on, and I fell into the rabbit hole. Just hear me out, y'all. I'm not talking about you gay people, but I fell in a rabbit hole. Now, I got energies of women turning into men and learning how they build up their penis. And one of them had a penis almost going down their knee. I got a little suspicious because they took the skin off the forearm. But then I said, is that a cadaver dick? I fell in the rabbit hole, right? Then I got caught up in this. Let me see if I can find. I don't know if I can find them. Let me see. Energy of these two gay guys, and one of them is so masculine that you wouldn't even know, but it was so raunchy. He grabbed. Let me see here. Okay. When he grabbed the neck of the man, first he choked him, then he turned him around and grabbed him by his neck from behind. And I said, hold on. I said, that's dangerous as fuck. And you're going to have more kids. I seen this on Law and Order too. Is it SWV or SV, whatever. Where kids keep grabbing at these girls' necks and choking them out. That is BD and S&M. That is prison sex. That is man on man. Okay? So they were showing that on this person's page. Then the person got on the camera and started spitting saliva coming out his mouth to make it appear it is ejaculation and whatever else. I said, I hollered. I said, what the fuck is this on Instagram, right? Then you have white men creating a subculture where white men are traveling around the world buying properties or doing co-ops or investment properties. And it is to create a queer gay community. Now you have queers and trans people wanting to leave America. So they're traveling around Italy and all these European countries and so on, even Africa, even Asian countries, to buy cottages and so on, so they can have a community. And it's just a whole bunch of gay people, and they can vote you in, they can vote you out. They're cooking, eating, designing, and doing artwork. That's the new cult, right? And so, and he says they'll technically what they do is they rent, but now they want to buy. Okay, so they're leaving America, and like Italy, there's whole homes and houses that are vacant. What is it to go over there and buy a property and then do some renovations and so on and build a whole new community? So apparently the gay community, the queer community, the trans community is allegedly moving out of America, going abroad, and they're creating these new communities for a safe place away from America. I told you I got caught up in the rabbit hole. Then you have this energy of a gay man explaining how to hit the prostate gland through the anal cavity. And then he said by hitting the prostate gland, the asshole gets wet and it bursts out a juice that causes the wetness of the ass. Okay. And then there's a connection of the heart chakras, and I forgot whatever chakras, because I told you chakras is for a different type of frequency. And I don't know when black people start getting involved with chakras, but you can't tell niggas shit, because usually we'll say frequencies and vibration. And I understand, I got caught up in chakras too until I learned my fucking lesson. Anyway, this white man was talking about that whole frequency, and I said, but you don't have to go through an asshole to get to the damn prostate gland, because all you really got to do is lift up the man's penis and go under his damn scrotum, and there it is right there. You do what you do, whatever you're going to do, and whatever the feeling he going to get. But I'm just saying there's different ways you can hit the prostate gland, and you don't have to go through the asshole to get the prostate gland, allegedly. I'm just saying. So then I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on here? Don't listen to me because I don't know what I'm talking about. So the thing is that he called the ass a stinko, but he gave all this explanation. This is all on Instagram, right? This is Black History. This is what niggas doing. So then I was listening to another energy where it was a whole powwow and podcast where they sat up and they was up there talking about how the guy was having sex in a black guy was having sex in the closet, got done, was smelling like feces, but didn't understand why he was smelling like feces. To find out he had feces on the tip of his dick, right? And so I was like, what you doing up in the closet having sex at a party? Then you up there didn't know you got, and wait a minute, why are you even talking about this? Black people didn't do this shit. Then you have black men recording, this is all on Instagram, how men be up in the club cleaning out their asses and then throwing the enema bottles on the damn floor. Men are doing titty shots like women. Men are getting their chest pumped or whatever they're doing and growing titties like women. I went and sent some reels to my gay constituents, and he rebuked me and told me to stop sending that shit because he don't want to see that shit on his algorithm. I seen on Instagram how 3 tips to get your butthole ready for eating. Remove butt hair, wash, then you have to use a washcloth, and then you use cornstarch. Now, I remember black people use cornstarch so they don't get chafe. Now, they saying to use it in the butthole. Then they have all these new things coming. I see spiritual constituents. I told you to do that after anal. I told you to do that after anal because I have a spiritual constituents now. I'm going to put it out in the universe. You're supposed to do it after anal. Now there's all of this going on. Make your money. I was trying to tell you. Gaping asshole wash. They got that going on. Then on Instagram, they have prison auction blocks showing where you have cis men up there looking at the how can I say? I'm not whatever. I'm not going to even say trans men because they're not trans. But anyway, they're on the auction block and they're modeling around all these cis boys that are in prison. Did y'all see that one? Did y'all see the white girl doing spell work that she uses her feminine fluids, her squirt, as she called it? She put it in a liquid and then she cooks with it. Y'all talk about period blood. Shit. Even though this been going on, because I know women sometimes use their yeast infection and put it in shit. This bitch is out here doing spell work. Men don't eat shit. And this was a white girl pulling this shit. They have another frequency called Horticulture. Horticulture. Basically, it is Botox for the motherfucking asshole to tighten it right back up. It is by Lushful Aesthetics. And they inject around, and I'm not saying to do this, I'm just talking what I seen on Instagram. You look it up yourself. It is Botox for the bottoms, bitch. A lot of this shit is for the bottoms. They have special foods now for bottoms. Diet and exercise for bottoms. And they said one of the food groups that they love eating is chicken and rice. This is all on Instagram, y'all. This is all on Instagram. Because Instagram then turned into porn. Another energy is very interesting in Black History Month is, did y'all hear about the white woman who basically ended up birthing a black child? Okay, so she had an IVF. So she had a donor, a white donor, white woman. She goes and have them inseminate, because you understand, I guess they take the embryo out, and I guess they inject it with the sperm or something, put it back into the woman. Now, something isn't real and something isn't right about this, because she birthed a whole chocolate baby. So then the parents allegedly end up suing her, wanting custody of their kid back. This sounds like a whole raggedy ass story. I don't know. So then, and I was like, she's a whole white woman, huh? What's going on? So then I started getting suspicious, because especially in Maryland and DC, they start to put IVF hospitals or clinics in those areas. Are these white women intentionally getting pregnant with black babies to take the DNA and melanin because they're malnourished? I'm wondering, because then I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I said, that's a form of witchcraft and doctory, right? So then over here, someone had, what's her, did I put her name down? Then they also talked about donor eggs and shit like that. What the fuck is really going on with IVF? Black women never had issues having babies. I mean, I was looking at this story. Let me see here. I think it was in Alabama, and it came on social media, and she had over 25 kids. Yeah, it was Lineville, Alabama, 1985. Samuel and Betty Jo Harding. She had over 25 kids. Okay. And black women ate well. They ate grits, collard greens, eggs, hog maul, and everything else. Everything you say that kill us, that's what produced them goddamn healthy children. Okay? You see something here. And then here's a Black history story. Ex-slave over 100 sold 5 times, bore 19 children. 14 were twins. Now Betty Jo, now and history, this one here, then you got Betty Jo over here. So where the hell did black women become infertile and barren and can't have kids? So we have social media in the entertainment world full of this propaganda, but in reality, they want us to donate our embryos and shit like that. There's something else to this, because black women never had a problem getting pregnant. But I remember one time in my church, and this is how the spirit works, because if the spirit wants you to have children, the spirit will let you have children. Fuck science. Because I remember one of the people at the church, her name was Lorraine Allen, and she wanted a baby so bad. She had been trying to have a baby. She adopted 2 kids. Then she got pregnant. That's spirit. Okay, so what it is. So I'm a little confused about what's going on right here with this history. Okay, and then a spiritual constituents of mine, there were some energies that was presented, and I seen an IVF placenta. A placenta tells the health of frequency, the tree of life, the tree of frequency. The IVF placenta look like a fucking alien from beyond. I don't know what the hell they're producing out here. Them placentas I've been seeing are ridiculous. I was like, what is this? Is this from the deep? Is this from the gates of hell? Is this the devil? I don't know. But IVF placentas are not it. And I don't know, and a lot of people are talking about, including doctors, that IVF babies are very interesting. What's also very interesting about placentas, and this is why maybe the hospital don't want to give you the placentas, because they don't want you to understand what's going on with the body and these people, because it was something very interesting that was very told to me, that one of the placentas had ended up getting mildewed. I said, mildewed? What rotten kid did she produce, allegedly? What is that? We're not talking about these humanoids from the deep. These kids are going to be in school with your kids? AI babies, huh? Because they want to incubate these babies. I had a spiritual constituent was telling me how they're talking about how these, how can I say, black women are freezing their eggs to have children later. So you have icebox children. You don't know what that is. No wonder your placentas are mildewing, allegedly. These AI babies, huh? Children out here getting freezer burned. Don't know what the fuck that is. When I went back and I started to look at food and energies and veganism doesn't come from Africa, but it does come from some parts of the Caribbean. So let's get that straight. And then I had somebody in my comments talk about the energies of yoni and the steaming and how it's to tighten up the vagina and the cervix and so on. But she's Caribbean. It doesn't mean that works for American women. Not everything comes from Africa. Right? I had a spiritual constituents point out to me, they were talking about Paris Hilton, how she's malnourished, and that's why them kids' heads, because I think she got 2 babies now or 1, I don't know, but they got some big ass heads, and they would talk about how white women allegedly don't eat, and that's why their kids come out with autism and interesting shaped body parts, especially them big ass heads they've been having, them noggins. And they was talking about Paris Hilton, allegedly, that's what's going on, because that bitch didn't eat during her pregnancy, allegedly. If she was really pregnant, because you don't know. You know, let's give a shout out to some Mexican people during, we call Black History Month, because at least they keep Black people energy alive, especially, with music, R&B, oldies but goodies, certain culture. They love antiques. They love everything that's our culture, including the zoot frequency, and then rockabilly, stuff like that. And let's not talk about the lowriders, because they'll connect the lowriders with the Mexican community and the cholo energy. But they don't want to talk about Victor Murphy, who was the original creator of the low riding frequency and connected with someone else to connect the hydraulic energy out of Compton. And they don't want to talk about the black car clubs that they used to have back in the 50s, late 40s and shit like that created the whole car club, low riding frequency and so on. So, but Mexican people, I rock with you with that, because at least you keeping it alive, because we sure not. And let's talk about some frequencies, right? As we talk about engineering, can we talk about Jimi Hendrix and the story of him creating a design? And I believe he sent it to Ford Motors. Then he ended up dead, and Ford Motors ended up producing the vehicle. Can we talk Jimi Hendrix? Can we talk about, what is it, Charles Patterson or Charles Richard Patterson, who designed the buggy? Then his son Frederick Douglass was one of the first black-owned car energies that created engineering a vehicle. But I heard later on he sold it to Ford Motors, because Ford Motors wasn't up to par with their engineering of their vehicles, right? So, but I do have some fucking questions. Wait a minute, let me see. What are my questions here? Then there's another let's look. Wait a minute. They want to X us out of engineering. They want to X us out of STEM. They want to X us out of Afrofuturism. It's for a motherfucking reason, because they want to recreate history, and they want to abandon old history and who we are as individuals. And they want to use this history as black history, as a black American history, which is on bullshit. That's why we have to keep our own energies alive. But I have some fucking questions. I'm going to go down some things and just a little bit of energies, because I do have questions. Now, if we have here the oldest bung on record was found in Africa dating before Christ. So you tell me back then they created bungs, your weed, whatever, your crack pipe, whatever, your crystal meth pipe, whatever. It came from there. In addition to the American indigenous people, right? On this day in Black history, October 27, 1991, an 1891, if I said that, 1891, an African American, let's take out African American, because I want to reread this. October 27th, 1891, an American black inventor named Philip B. Downing patented a street letterbox, which is known today as the mail motherfucking box. But now we have motherfuckers trying to get rid of the United States Postal Service. So we had a black man who invented a mailbox. Okay. Let's go further. Selma Burke never received credit for her portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, which was later featured on the U.S. dime. But we're not artists. Okay. It says, did you know dry cleaning was invented in 1821 by a black man named Thomas Jennings? Thomas Jennings owned a day cleaning business in New York City and was the first black man in the United States granted a patent. Meet Jesse Eugene Russell, the black man who invented the digital cell phone. We already know about the sanitary. The sanitary pad was developed by a black woman called Mary Patrice Davison Kenner. And also the toilet paper holder, right? Wait a minute, I have questions. On this day in 1891, a famous inventor, John Standard, was awarded patent for making the refrigerator. In 1897, black American businessman and inventor Alfred L. Crayley received U.S. patent for inventing the ice cream scoop. What? His last name is Winters. I didn't get his whole name, but in 1878, he invented the fire escape. Meet Otis Boykin, a black man who invented the wire resistor used for electric appliances, 1959. And we're not going to talk about the Playboy bunny costume, 1960, Zelda Wynne Valdez. She was born in Pennsylvania, and she was a fashion designer. Wait a minute. On September 1st, 3 days after Hurricane Katrina, 20-year-old Jabbar Gibson took a New Orleans Parish school bus and transported 70 people on a 13 trip to the Astrodome. That's in Houston. We have our first drink mixer. They said the lost Black American bartender who created the cocktail. Black bartenders across the South made the mint julep a national sensation process invented by modern mixology by a black man. Charles S.L. Baker invented the radiator. His invention makes it possible for us to enjoy heated homes. Did you know Crest toothpaste, Folgers coffee, Bounce fabric softener, Safeguard soap were all created by a black man, Dr. Herbert Smitherman, with a PhD? I thought we need DEI. I thought we need DEI. Don't we need DEI, affirmative action, and the civil rights? Because we don't know nothing? Because we just stupid as fuck? Okay, let's continue. Dr. Alexa Irene Kennedy, the first black woman neurosurgeon in the United States. The next time you cook with a pastry fork or a spatula, remember that it was this 13-year-old black girl who was a Hebrew girl named Miss Anna and Miss Anna Magena, who invented it in 1892. Did you know Jan Ernest Mepser invented and created the shoe industry in America? Owes it to dominance of him. I'm looking at it right here. Look these people up. Dr. Shirley Jackson breakthrough research contributed to the technology used to develop portable fax, touch-tone telephones, solar cells, fiber optic cables, and the technology behind caller ID and waiting. So wait a minute. Let's take it further. We just talking Black history, right? At 12 years old, Edmund Albus, an enslaved man, pollinated vanilla orchards by hand. So your vanilla extract. Patricia Beth invented laser eye surgery in 1891. She's 76 years old and still living. I think I talked about him. Let me see. Henry T. Sampson, the man who created the first cell phone back in 1971. Oh. But I thought we need DEI. Meet the black woman who invented the GPS global positioning system, Dr. Gladys West. On May 6, 1886, inventor M.A. Cherry patented the tricycle. This here connects to IVF. Hear this. Scientifically, the black woman is the only organism that possesses the mitochondrial DNA that has all the variations possible for every different kind of human. DNA of of a black woman mutates all these types of beings come about. You can research this topic and it is true. This is called the Eve gene and is only found in black motherfucking women. So you understand who we are. You're just talking black history, right? Thomas Edison light bulb was too hot and had very short lifespan, therefore wasn't efficient enough to be placed in homes. However, it was the brighter, more efficient, long-lasting light bulb invented by Lewis Lattimore. That motherfucking White House. March 12, 1791, Benjamin Banneker and Perry Charles L'Enfant are commissioned to design the District of Columbia. The Right Stuff. Let's see here if I can see it. In 1890, William Purvis made several improvements to the fountain pen in order to make it more durable, inexpensive, better pen to carry in the pocket. The pen eliminated the need for ink bottle. Oh, okay. So he created the pen. Meet George T. Sampson, black man who invented America's first automatic clothes dryer. Mary Smith, 1970, first African American Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. This is NASA physicist who invented the 3D movies. Her name is Valerie Thomas. This makes sense here. So basically, Jane Fonda was down with the Black Panther Party. That makes a lot of sense why she had them Black Panther children. Apparently, so was God, I forgot his name. Did you hear? Well, apparently, the Sphinx is connected to the Mayans and Incas. And the garb and the mask. So when we look at so in Egypt, so technically the Mayans and Incas and so on, Mayans, Incas, whatever. Do you understand? Technically, that's older than Egypt. Do you understand that the mask and the headdress is new? The pyramids were already here. It's the reverse. Egypt didn't come before the Mayans and the Incas and so on. The Incas and the Mayans in Mexico and Central and South America came before Egypt. And technically what you're seeing in Egypt is really native garb, as it connects back to the Gulf of Mexico to Louisiana. Mayans, Incas, Aztecs. Do you understand the Mayans, Incas, and Aztecs was before Egypt? This is above your pay grade. Telephone transmitters, railways, subway systems, roller coasters. Dr. Granville T. Woods, one of America's greatest electrical engineers. He created all engineering that. They show us the natural comb came out of Fiji, right? But in reality, the natural comb was created, what we're going to say in Egypt or Ethiopia, was the first energies of the natural comb. So who in the fuck did they replace those Egyptians with, because the original Egyptians had afros and kinky hair. Just like they replaced the Chinese and so on. Where in the fuck are the real Puerto Ricans? Here's a white man who got himself caught up in Black history. In 1996, Gary exposed how the CIA hired drug traffickers to sell massive amounts of cocaine in the United States in order to raise untraceable funds to finance terrorist organizations who were trying to overthrow Nicaraguan government. These massive shipments of cocaine ultimately sparked a crack epidemic that decimated the inner cities during the 1990s. As a result, the mainstream media verified Gary Webb, and they destroyed his career, as they do, like the CIA and FBI will. Destroyed his marriage, and then later on shot him in the head in around 2004. Black FBI informant who joined the Black Panther Party and set up Fred Hampton, William O'Neill. The real Lincoln is black. Abraham Lincoln is black. In Black history, how they killed the fuck out of Bill Cosby's son. Captain America star Anthony Mackie owns a crown jewel of gay bars in New Orleans. In Black history, you guys should feel real stupid that Jaguar Wright is a coon bitch and an informant. And I can't whoop her ass. I don't think so, because that bitch crazy as a motherfucker. But y'all should feel real stupid. I told you it was something up with that agent. Now, she didn't got an award from Trump for being a freedom fighter, in so many words, for telling on everybody in the industry that's black. I don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear y'all talking about it. Why aren't y'all talking about that? Why aren't you guys talking about how Jaguar Wright is a fucking informant who was fed information by officials to tear down a community and people? How come we not talking about that? Because you don't want to? Nothing against Philadelphia. I don't know where this woman is from, but how is that? It's like Tasha K. It's the same way. Just like somebody was telling me that how she was talking about, I guess, Devontae Smith, that he's allegedly gay or whatever she was insinuating. And I said, And I said, well, did that come from his cousin? Did the cousin hit him up? Or who's saying this information? Because they all doing the same fucking thing. You guys are not asking Jaguar Wright how in the fuck she gets an award for being a snitch. Was she muling? And they said, hey, we'll cut your time down if you do this. Kind of like that ASAP Rocky, that case that's old as fuck that didn't make sense. My son was like, it looked like him on a camera. He said, but why isn't Tory Lanez out though? Black history. As we talk about alcohol, we're going to talk about Richard Spikes, who is an engineer who created an automotive technology for vehicles, especially in the Bay Area, and also the nozzle to put on kegs. So we're going to talk about these people, right? We got psychics running around here talking about that Puff Daddy is delusional and he's seeing Kim Porter. Stop that lying. He not delusional. He fine. Talking about necromancy. Stop listening to that shit. They lying. He fine. He's somewhere, but he fine, I'm sure. If not around, who knows? But these psychics who up there talk about, and he's this, and he's that, and he's this, and he's that. You ain't seen that man. So stop doing your psychic visions and they fake. Well, what we should be interested with that we forgot was that fucking list that he was trying to let y'all niggas know the what's up. Right? Did we forget his list? Because we already know that he not in jail. What jail is he in? Come on, stop. And of course, they're going to come up with something. Just like with that ASAP Rocky shit, they're going to come up with something. He said Dwayne Wade, Gabrielle Union, Rita Wilson, Naomi Campbell, Megan Thee Stallion, Janelle Monáe. What's her name? Alba. Jay Balvin. Lizzo, Sierra. Chris Brown, Kelly Rowland, Swiss Beats, Jay-Z, Beyonce, ASAP, Rihanna, Drake, Oprah. Can we stop listening to an industry full of mules, pimps, and prostitutes and addicts? It made me think about their plastic surgery. I was thinking about my kids. If I don't care, I tell the business. And I talked about this, how he used the 8-ball, crack, and sniff cocaine. And his face would be swollen up in here. The nasal passage. Isn't that a cause for plastic surgery too? If your nasal passage is fucked up? Sniffing and doing all that shit? Made me think about Eazy-E. How he introduced crack to Hollywood. Did y'all see that Burberry fashion show for Fashion Week? And how Lauryn Hill looked like she was having a menopause hot flash. How they had her looking like Aunt Jemima. How they had her looking like a Caribbean slave. Her and her daughter. And Laura Roach ass sitting up there. Did y'all see that D Squad? How they went back to the 70s, 80s, and 90s type of energy. Under Neo-Black history, I was looking at Philadelphia. I was looking at their features and shit. Have you guys ever heard of the indigenous Hebrews? And they were here in America. And they kind of look like Abraham Lincoln type of energy. But the indigenous Hebrews. That's Philadelphia have that look. Them dudes and women. It's native. But it's the Hebrews, indigenous, native. The new ones are imposters. People wanted me, somebody asked me about Moors. And you have to understand, the world have been under Moors forever. The whole Bible's built under Moors. In my study, in my thesis, I've never seen anything positive about the Moors. King James was under the Moors. The original King James was not white. it was a Moor. It was a biracial looking frequency. And when you look at the original paintings and the original sketches and pictures, it is a black male, a King James, who was part of the Moors. But they don't want to talk about that because this is above your pay grade. Because you Google daggers and you think it's what it is, but it's not. These stories out here, remember I talked about the North Korean president who changed his wife's whole energy. This is above people pay grade. So we're going to do a flip mode. But yes, there's evidence that shows that King James was not a white man. And the whole Bible is built on top of Islamic and Moor frequencies. However, from what I've always understood, the Moors were always gypsy and thieves and imposters. Okay? And they went from Spain to Italy to Israel to Asia, parts of the United States, everywhere. And they changed the scope of DNA. And they were also Benedict Arnolds, that they went against people and sold and did the most in drugs and mules. Okay. However, when we talk even Louisiana, and they talked about that whole energy of the covering of the hair was connected to the Spanish president, that story I heard was fake. In reality, that was Moorish shit being introduced, like Islam, like the cover up of the body, of the head, and so on. And people don't want to talk about that part of Moorish energy, right? But it's above your pay grade, which we say gypsy, darker arts, voodoo, whatever you want to call it, the underworld of Pentecostal. I'm just talking the flip side of the history, what they don't talk about, that energy that's there, right? So basically, it's an energy that men took over. So they don't want to connect it to the Moors or connected to the Islamic frequencies. And that's where you come in with the covering of the woman. Okay? However, when we talk about gypsy, thieves, mules, tyrants, and the frequencies of genie in a bottle, fezzes, people sold to colonizers, con artists, sold, kidnapped, drugs, tribes and idols, stolen, and then other countries, colonizers coming in due to the Moors coming and stealing shit and then selling it. And now you have the countries coming in saying, hey, we want our shit back. But that is because a lot of it, not so much it was the people within, but the people without who were thieves who went in and stole a lot of shit. Even with we talk about the diamonds and the crowns. That's why white people be laughing at us, because they know that it was the supposed Moors that went and stole a lot of this shit and sold it and gave it to them, right? So is that part they don't want to talk about in history. But which includes, of course, your Arabs or Middle Easterns, your turbans, your headdresses, and so on, right? So let's look at some energies that I have of different functions of what we call more. So this video is going to be a little longer than usual. So these are different functions and art pieces that these are up in white people houses. White people love Moors. Masons love Moors. So this is one piece here. And this is an alcohol beverage. Okay. This was like a liqueur. Here it is. Okay. And these here you see all the time. And white people have hella like large more stuff in their like sculptures, idols, shit like that. These are just like their lamps. See? And yeah, and these you could get these anywhere if you could find them. Okay? Some more. And a lot of these are, again, connected to Masonic. So you may get a lot of white people that has a very strong interest in this, that practice, because Moorship is, again, connected to the Bible. The Last Supper is connected to the Bible, connected to the Moors. All of them sitting at the table was Moors. Jesus was a Moor. That's why Jesus, I'm doing a flip mode, because I know some of you guys are Bible thumping holes. That's why Jesus wasn't never respected as the Messiah, respected as a gypsy. And they tell you this confusion because they want you to practice in confusion. Again, this is just up in white people's house. Yeah, in white people's house. And you know your genie is really the woman practicing magic, but the man took over that frequency, okay, and made the genie in the bottle. And remember I said Moors went from Africa to the Americas to Spain. And yes, Morocco, Fezes, all of that. That's where head wraps came from. It came from the dang Moors. Understand the artwork that they have. Some of you be like, well, that just look like this and that. Moors. Don't get caught up in titles. This is allegedly supposed to be Middle Eastern. He's talking history, right? History. These are the things I've seen. Life-size Moors. Now we're going to get into the Fezes. So this is more of your Masonic energy. And if you know some of this is, sure, let me know. Now these I need to dust off some more because I haven't had them for a minute. But just gonna look. See? Energies, right? So understand what's up in people's houses. And let me say this, I talked a lot, in supposedly in the Egyptian culture, they understood about planting and gardening. But what do we do when they have things like this that is similar. Has the astrology. This is a planter's clock. And it says last killing frost in the spring, first killing frost in the fall. Because remember what we studied, right? This Black History, we're ending it with some frequency. That's why I said video a little longer than usual. I will also suggest that you guys check the records of Ellis Island, because a lot of your ancestors came through there. There's too many variations of who and what the Statue of Liberty is. But the Statue of Liberty, funny enough, is a crown that's connected to Morocco. So we need to fit, because remember I talked about it also being connected to kind of a shining star energy. What was that I was seeing here? Colossus Rhodes. So they mixed up the energy to cause confusion. They talk about the Mormons having Black information, you know, our records, but we got to be careful. But you know who else have records of Black people? The Catholic Church. They have all the records of Africa. And some people who are African have to go to the Catholic Church to get information about their family and their ancestors. Did you know that? Did y'all hear about that case? Oh, in addition to, I was looking at in braids. Let's talk about braids for a moment. Braids are not authentic to Africa. What's authentic to Africa is more having the hair out, clay, so on. Because it's very Afro, you know, what I call Afrofuturism and more. Braids came from the white folks for hair straightening and cause stress on the hair. And when you braid the hair, it straightens it out. They don't talk about that part. But at the same time, they use the braids, as we already know, as different roads, travel, maps, and so on. The other thing is for us to go back and reevaluate and look at the slave ship, because the slave ship that they have everybody kind of lined up or laid in a certain way, that's a code. Now I'm trying to look at the code, and the 40 acres and a mule, that is fucking Masonic, but that's a code. Okay, the diagram is under numerology. It almost look Ifa, like a Ifa energy. But it's a code. And it's a code that they actually took from Africa. So we have to dissect and try to translate the code of that slave ship of the African ancestors allegedly side by side. But they don't also talk about from the Caribbean islands and so on, how some of, especially during the early 1900s, of how they were coming to America, and they was talking about how they was catching some of them white people eating raw meat. Some of that raw meat was raw flesh on them ships when the Jamaicans and the Haitians when they was bringing them here to America, and especially from the Caribbean islands. And they don't want to talk about, especially in Jamaica, how allegedly they was having them sleep with the Asians. Did you hear about that story in Detroit with the Black mother allegedly leaving her 3 kids for 5 years? That sounds like a bogus ass story. And if we don't catch it, you better catch it. For 5 years during the pandemic, and people kept bringing pizza boxes. What is pizza boxes? If we want to be a little bit novelty, what the fuck is pizza boxes connected to? So what in the mule and trafficking was going on with them children, allegedly? What was really going on with that? And that woman whose 2 kids died up in the vehicle, that sounds like a sacrifice to me, because now they're giving her a house. And that, what's his name? That Tailboat Rackins, who got shot up in that damn Georgia by that white girl, that sound like revenge and redemption. He shouldn't have been talking about black women the way he was talking about black women. They said he was accidentally shot. And are we going to talk about the energies that happen, where is this? To Preston Coleman. I don't know if this happened in Colorado at this place called VFW. It's dealing with veterans. And apparently, this white man stabbed, beat, strangled, and kicked a black man. The bartender, white woman, witnessed the shit, texted her father. Then her father allegedly came down and started beating up the man too, the black man. And the white bartender lady tried to say she didn't know what the fuck was going on, and she tried to lie out of it, and then bailed out. Then bailed out of jail. Did y'all hear about that story? Did y'all hear about the other story of the school nurse poisoning the black child? Let me see here. Yeah. I guess the father name was Brett or something, but the daughter name was Ireland Brown. And the father name is Ronald Brown. And then the person who beat the man up is named Brett. And she said, she sent a text about he's gurgling, covered in blood. He's going to stab him. Then she said, this dude can't stand up. I think this dude is going to die. Brett won't stop beating him. And it's at this place called Aliquippa, Aliquippa VFW. I think it's in Colorado. But the guy, Brett, admitted that he's a white supremacist. And they keeping this real light, talking about they investigating this. See, these white people getting out of hand. Are we going to talk about that Georgia couple that allegedly was in the boat, but it looked like somebody murdered them and put them in the boat, and the wife didn't have any water or drown or lick or water in her lungs, and she was holding on to her cell phone, but they can't find her husband? Are we going to talk about that? Because we still trying to figure out that case with that Tamia Harsford, when she was found in the backyard or front yard at that slumber party. We're still trying to figure that the fuck out. Did you know there are Mexican young men out here owning businesses, 16 through 18 years old, getting financed, and they're getting support from their parents? But meanwhile, we have black kids out here calling themselves the YNs, getting caught up with 360 years in prison and shit like that. What the fuck is really going on? What are we not doing? How are we not supporting our youth and our young men? Putting them young Mexican kids under apprenticeship. They cutting hair and barber and everything. Did you see that whack ass NAACP? Did you see Kiki Palmer trying to pretend to be Whitney Houston and had on a Jamie Curtis dress? Did you see Kamala Harris? What the fuck was going on with the Wayans? Where in the fuck was Keenan Wayans? How come they kept talking about him in past tense? How come that snitch ass Dave Chappelle got an award? What the hell? Don't be trying to up no fucking NAACP who don't help nobody. That farce. What the fuck was going on with Kerry Washington? Why she kept repeating herself over again like a nut? Talking about Tyler Perry. They were talking about how those fraternities they stole the rites of passage from the black community and created a fucked up philosophy. Very sexualized, right? How come black women are getting in front of mixed company white women discussing their men's issue and then getting into a full disagreement in front of them? What's going on? How come we have all these fucking retreats popping off, and if you look on social media, they all wiggling and dancing and step dancing, doing all that and singing folkloric songs? What is that shit? When are we going to understand retreats is still a CIA frequency? Because now I'm researching and peeping that people like Sylvia Brown and the rest of these psychics and mediums are nothing but CIA ops. Yeah, you heard me. Because at first I had to really research. I said, what the fuck was going on? Yeah, CIA ops. Okay? Because the spiritual constituents brought something to my attention that she's seen. That she said that she's seen something that talked about infantile schizophrenia. And I said, whoa. Because, you know, if you're talking about infantile schizophrenia, that's almost saying a child who has a little invisible friend or see a ghost or anything like that, that child has schizophrenia. Don't let them play you like that. Because in reality, that taps back into infantile autism and ADHD. They're just trying to find ways to take spirit away from people. That sounds like the Seventh-day Adventist church who sits up and say if someone has the Holy Ghost, they're crazy. We had that fake ass influencer on a Tamara Hall show breaking down, praying like a motherfucker, impeding. I said she shouldn't be trying to pray for anybody that's impeding and putting people under work. And we all know Tamara Hall is nothing but the fucking devil. So I don't even know why she was on there praying and faking. That bitch is a straight up devil. Tamara Hall. Then, I told you it's going to be a little longer than usual. Then, they're telling me about Birdman, how he froze up after Lil Wayne allegedly gave him a blunt and knocked him out for 20 minutes. But it sounded like revenge, redemption, responsibility, because they said that allegedly Birdman been on that energy as a pedophile. And they was talking about Turk. I said, who's Turk? They said Cashman. I said, who? And then they said he been gone a long time. I said, what? And they had to tell me what part he rapped on Project Chick. Is it Project Chick? Project Bitch. And I was like, what? And they talked about what he did to him, what he did to Lil Wayne, and what he did to BG. And if anybody goes against him, they end up in prison like Turk and BG. Then they went into talking about Toni Braxton, how she gave up her sons allegedly to him. They were insinuating Tamar. They was talking about Gabe that was messing with Trina. He was like, hell no, fuck no, allegedly. And the same thing with Tracy's son, and she ended up with cancer. See, this is all allegedly, right? But allegedly the Atlanta and Louisiana streets are talking, allegedly. So then they was talking about UGK, because they were saying that technically with Pimp C, they were saying that Birdman owed Pimp C money for some song Lil Wayne did. And then they said the next thing you know, they was talking about him and Jay-Z, Birdman and Jay-Z was in some shit, but they went and did some interesting frequencies to UGK. This is all allegedly. So then they started talking about Bun B, and they said allegedly they shut him down with his alleged business. Hey, this is just the streets. This is what I'm being told. I'm just reporting the news. So I'm just saying it real quick of what it is. Y'all do your own research, because niggas talk in the streets. This is part of, as I say, Black history. When I was talking earlier about the religion, the flip side, right? We have to understand technically the Bible is upside down and sideways and to the left and to the right. The Spirit says that we're not supposed to look to the left and we're not supposed to look to the right. We're only supposed to look straight ahead for the wisdom. That's what the Spirit says, right? So how come they keep pushing you're a lefty, you're a right? Do you see the game? But here's the thing that we should understand, and we're the ass backers and we have fucking questions. In the Spirit, it tells us that woman was the first energy on earth and the creator of all. And the woman basically gave permission for man to create and build. And she basically assigned certain men to do certain things. So where in the fuck does men come in this whole frequency? Because more and more, as I'm looking at men and their femininity, they are fucking haters. Every last one of them are haters. And women, we got to protect ourselves because they're trying to neutralize us. Big time, because they're angry at the woman who's the original creator and gave them instructions and directions. See, we are not supposed to listen to a man that doesn't listen to a woman on a simple fact. The woman has the wisdom, and a man without wisdom is an ain't shit motherfucker, because their wisdom is from a woman. And if your man don't have any wisdom, then you shouldn't be with his ass in the first place, because if he's trying to rule you and say, I got the wisdom, then you got to get rid of that nigga. That's why mothers and shit are so important, because they basically instill and implant their certain frequencies in their child, because it always starts, number one, with the woman, plain and simple. So then as you break down and you start to understand that these are two different frequencies, because in the Old Testament, it says that alcohol and drugs are bad and intoxicating. But when you get into the New Testament, it's like party and bullshit. What the fuck? So then you start to realize the world is under Lucifer and the devil right now, and always been, because Satan is different from Lucifer and the devil. And I understand what they tell you, but it's what it ain't. However, when you start to really understand the frequencies of what's going on, we're supposed to lead and follow a certain frequency. However, when you start to understand Jesus, you start to understand Jesus as a simple imposter. And there are two different mothers. There's a mother who birthed a child on the 24th. And then there's another mother who birthed a child in the spring. But the funny thing is, the one who birthed a child in the spring, we got to try to see what the fuck is going on, because apparently the red dragon was going to harm the other child, which was a male child that they took from the mother and then gave to God. But who is that child? Because it almost make you think it was Hagar and Ishmael. But then they'll say that's Jesus. And God went and gave his only begotten son. But that is a different God. But people are missing that originally the original child was a baby girl. And when you look at all of the artwork, they'll tell you what the boys used to look so beautiful. No, the original child was a girl. Is that the child that was born in darkness on the 24th? And then the child of the light is this imposter? Because we have to understand, in Genesis, it explains the variations of creation from the winter to the spring to the summer, then into fall. This is above your pay grade. That is why I said the Last Supper were a whole bunch of Moors, but in reality, the person in the middle was a woman who was being crucified. And there's a difference between the Holy Ghost and Holy Spirit. And when Jesus went down, allegedly, to hell, Jesus remained in hell, because Jesus was always an imposter. This is flip side of you to look at. You don't have to believe it as whatever, but it's telling you right there what happened. And you can interpret it any way you want to interpret. But you have to understand, who are these beings? What is going on? Okay? Because there are variations in the book that we should be under or not be under. But pretty much, Revelations is telling you who this entity that they call Jesus. And it's telling you where the fuck it came from. So Mary is really, it's like, well, what about Mary? That's the part that doesn't make sense. They made Mary a surrogate. And that's why Jesus denounced her, because he is not that's not his mama. His mama is the other woman. Then who's Mary? Mary had a different baby. That was the girl. This is above y'all pay grade. There's a baby that was in the major. Then there's the baby that was born in the desert, which is very similar to Ishmael, which taps back to the Moors and the world practicing Moorish energy under this Islamic frequency. But some of you say she's ignorant, she has no wisdom, she don't know what she's talking about. Yeah, from a man. Because it will remove you off your high horse. Because the real, the concubine, bathhouses, all those houses, steam rooms and all that is man. It was never concubine. It was concubine. Is the original frequency. That's why men be up in them steam rooms and places. You can't have a concubine as a woman sleeping with a man who's allegedly not her man. Because she's a woman who bears children. Men sexually assaulted men. Men was up in them steam rooms and whatever, having sex with other men. That's why if you look at it, you don't see a whole bunch of women together up in steam rooms and steam lodges and whatever, and bathhouses. You see men, because it's always been men. Y'all didn't catch that? That death with Gene Hackman is a motherfucker, isn't it? Roberta Flack died. I told you about Joni Mitchell. You had the Isley brother died, right? I had to tap that in real quick. That Gene Hackman, that shit is a motherfucker, isn't it? Anyway, let me loop back. The spirit just had me say that real quick. You have Indians out here digging their fingers in your tailbone. That's not woman. That's man. That's why they're building all this energy for bottoms. Because they are the true concubine. Okay, this is Black history. Neo-Black history, right? This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. It is up when you want some real motherfucking work done.